So close your eyes for a second. Imagine city life. The bustling sound of cars, of sirens, of loud music blaring in the background, of concrete, miles upon miles of concrete. Imagine the restaurants and stores, the Walgreens, the Burger Kings, the McDonald's, the smell of greasy fries and deep dish pizza if you're in Chicago. Imagine the sound of the subway and train systems making their way from one corner of the grid to the next. Imagine city life. And then feel free to open your eyes. But let me backtrack for a second. My interest and love for the environment didn't stem from being immersed in the city. My love for the planet started as a young girl going on fishing trips with my father. I can remember it really vividly. I'd have my pink Barbie fishing rod in tow, and from Target. We'd go to the bait shop, and my dad, he'd let me buy this plastic can of worms, and at the time I was completely grossed out. But we'd take a small little boat and get out on the lake. And after a while, I wasn't so obsessed with the actual act of fishing, because if you've ever gone fishing, it takes a lot of patience. And at 10 or 12 years old, I didn't have a lot of patience. Rather, I was fascinated by the world around me, by nature, by the sound of the lake and the intrigue about the different organisms and plants and species that existed beneath the water. And I think about that experience a lot, about how much I fell in love with the environment and how I can use Get Them to the Green as another way of creating that moment for young students in Chicago, creating an alternative to the hustle and bustle of living in an urban city like Chicago. So that's what I've been trying to do with my work with Get Them to the Green. During the summer camp last summer with the students, we got to explore and wander community gardens. We had guests from the Plant Chicago teach students about aquaponics and hydroponics, growing plants with fish and water. We got to debate climate change and its effects on the environment, and that was one of the most exciting parts for me, getting to see these kids talk about something I had no idea about when I was their age. And after the camp, I was visioning more about what I wanted to do to extend our mission, and I started working with my former elementary school, Vanderpool, as you saw in the video, and gardeneers to bring a garden to life. I didn't expect it, but the garden had become a place for people of different backgrounds and different generations to come together and bond over growing food. There was one teacher telling me, Dejah, these kids are coming down, they're telling me, I want to get outside, I want to go get my hands dirty, I want to water, I want to weed. She was telling me they were excited about something, and that was powerful to me. It was the first time I got to see in a reflection from someone else the work that I was doing. As movement activist Grace Lee Bogg said in The Next American Revolution, the world of 2050 will be what you make it. I'll repeat that again because I think it's incredibly important. The world of 2050 will be what you make it. For me, education is a key component in bringing out the equitable transformation and revolution of our society. For my own life, I've seen how beneficial education has been for me. I've seen how interacting with phenomenal educators has propelled me forward. Yet, I also acknowledge that education and consciousness raising isn't the only way to bring about change, and the awardees down there have kind of showed you guys that. All of you are going to play an incredible role in creating that future and that world in 2050. Think about it for a second. What kind of world do you want to live in? Is it a world where climate and environmental justice are ingrained in the economical and ecological fabrics of our society? Is it a world where fossil fuels are kept and buried in the ground? Is it a world where ecological literacy and how one must treat the planet are ingrained values in individuals at birth? Whatever it be, think about that world that you envision and work with people to bring it to a reality. And if you want to learn more about how to do that, feel free to visit getthemtothegreen.com. There's a Get Involved page to learn more. But before I finish, I have to give thanks because I didn't make it up here on my own. Thank you to my parents. I think my mom's somewhere in the crowd. To the University of Chicago Collegiate Scholars Program. To my academic institution, Cornell University. To Chicago, because Chicago. To gardeneers and Vanderpool, all the supporters who donated to Get Them to the Green. And finally, to the Earth Island Institute for sharing and elevating my story and hopefully inspiring some of you because truly the world of 2050 will be what we all make it. Thank you.